What up, my people? Welcome to the League Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Shane Newman. Joining me, fresh off a World Series championship, dude I've been knowing for a long time, Major League vet, been around a little bit, pitched for multiple teams, filled different roles with those teams. Still going strong right now as we speak, despite, baseball being at a halt right now, but my man's still chunking that pill, man. We got Major League vet, World Series champ, as I mentioned, Mr. Jesse Chavez. Chavez, man, what's going on with you?
What's going on? How we doing, Shane? Everything good?
I'm good, man. It's been a while, you know what I'm saying? Been a long time, bro, so it's kind of good to catch up, man.
Yeah, been a long time. A lot of teams in between, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know, man. You got a lot of traveling in that body of yours, and a lot of innings, a lot of pitches in that body of yours, and you're still going at it, bro. So fam good, man. Everybody cool on your end?
Yeah, family's good. The oldest one's about to graduate now. Can't believe that. It flies, all she knows is baseball. So, half of her life I've been gone, and seeing her graduate, it's kind of pretty cool to see that mama's done the other side of it and raised her right.
Definitely, man. Strong family background. Shit. When I met you was married, had the family already at a young age of 23 years old, maybe when you came over to the Pirates, and to see you still chunking it, family still intact, people are growing, they're getting to experience life. Mom holding it down at the crib while you're going away to play ball. Man, it's always beautiful to see, man, especially over the last few years with the pandemic and a lot of craziness that's going on with the world. Yeah. To see families stick together and make it through all of these trying times, bro. So salute to you. Salute to moms on that too, man. Congrats on baby girl finishing high school this year too.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Pretty cool, man. Just like you said, all the moms do double work with this whole pandemic thing going on. That's been going on the last 2.5 years. It's more worry on their part just to make sure the kids are safe.
Yeah. Yep. And you too, man. Shit, you're on the road. You're going to different cities and doing a lot of different things to make sure you keep yourself healthy and do the things you need to do to stay on the field, and also not to get sick and bring anything back to the family, teammates and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's up, bro. Look, we're going to dive into a few things. This is the League Talk Podcast, Jesse, man. So we're going to jump into your journey to the big leagues, man. But before we start, answer this question for me real quick. Where's San Gabriel, man? Is that in the LA area? Is that in Northern Cal?
Yeah.
Where is that?
It's in the LA area. Probably the heart, like East LA-ish area. Born there. Grew up not that far, about 15 minutes away from there. First couple years of my life, and then we moved out to Fontana. But yeah, San Gabriel, it's where I'm from. I mean, where I was born. A lot of people don't know it unless you're from around this area. You think it's further south towards like San Diego because it has the sand in it, but no, it's right here in the heart of LA.
No doubt. A lot of good ball players, man, come from that area. Obviously, California is a big state. LA is a big city. Surrounding areas, man. We know a bunch of guys that play ball from that area, man. You one of them to be exact. So growing up, man, San Gabriel, moved to Fontana. When did you jump into to baseball, man? Was it at 5? Was it early on? Was it later? When did you start playing the game?
First word was ball, from what I was told. So my dad gave me a baseball when I was like 2 years old, when I learned how to walk and grab a ball and pick it up. So ever since I was able to throw a baseball, I was well beyond, like, as I was able to walk, basically. Once I was able to grab it, I guess I was throwing a ball around, whether it was that, a football, basketball, whatever it was. I was always outside. My dad always had me busy. So I started way too.
Yeah, man.
Growing up playing against older kids, because he started me early. My birthday's in August. So I'm able to play against older kids a year earlier. So that helped me out as far as, getting that exposure a little bit more, because sometimes I was able to play against a 2-year-older that kid that just made the bracket for that age group. So that kind of helped me out, moving forward.
Gotcha. So ever since you jumped off the porch, stopped wearing diapers, was getting potty trained, you started throwing those balls around, baseball, football, basketball, whatever you want to say, whatever sport you want to choose, you was doing it. But did any other sport take off for you as a youngster? Or you just kind of stuck to baseball from the organized standpoint?
I thought it was gonna be football.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Well, I just never got bigger. That was the first sign that I was like, all right, this ain't gonna be it. And then my hand never got bigger to grab the football.
Yeah.
The way I was able to throw effectively growing up. So once I got towards high school, and then that was when I had a first problem in my career, was going from football to baseball, because I had changed the way I threw the ball just to compensate for that bigger football. So I felt it during baseball, and I was like, all right, you got to pick one or the other. So I was like, all right, I ain't getting bigger, so let's choose baseball and just throw once every 5 days or once a week, especially in high school.
No doubt. So you gave it up in high school? You gave up football in high school, or just before you went to high school? Right
when I got to right before football season was, when you go out for summer, right before that, I was like, all right, you got to choose one or the other. Elbow was killing me. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. And you say you didn't gain any weight. As long as I've known you, you've been slim, dog. So, I can imagine how small you were back in the day when you was going into high school, man. So gave it up. Was it a tough decision, or you were like okay with it because the workload that it was putting on you, you knew you couldn't handle it? So how did that feel, having to give that up?
It sucked. It was bad. I didn't like the way it felt. Just because I love watching football. I love the way the game is played. Just being able to sit back in the pocket, or being able to move and, make something happen when when somebody doesn't do their job. It's kind of like pitching, when, our teammates make an error behind us, we got to get them right back in it. We get another ground ball right to them. They turn the double play. That's what I like about the football part, because every play somebody's not doing their own job, because the other person on the other side is just as good or better than them. Whereas for us in baseball, we just got one guy that has to get it behind 7 other guys behind us.
Yeah.
Odds are in our favor. But when it's football, like, one guy can mess up on either play, and it could be a snowball effect. So being back to that, that's what I missed about it.
No doubt.
When I chose not to play, but I already knew wasn't going to be a good decision anyways.
Yeah, I feel you, man. It's tough, tough to give up a sport you love, grew up playing, and then obviously hindsight 2020, we sit here talking about your career that's still going. It's probably a smart move by you to shut down the football and to focus on baseball. So you get into high school, you go through those earlier years, elementary school, middle school, playing baseball, playing multiple sports. When you hopped on campus at your high school, man, went out for the baseball team. Did you know a lot of the guys? Was it kind of a culture shock to see guys out there playing that you may have not seen before, maybe bigger, stronger, faster? Speak on that first experience hopping onto that high school baseball field for the first time.
Man, I remember it vividly. It was tryouts, and I was obviously my freshman year. The only guys I knew were the guys that played at the local park. But the other ones, the sophomores, juniors, and seniors, the ones that were on JV or got cut from JV, or were on JV their sophomore year but got cut their junior year, and now they're trying out again for their senior year just so they can get a letter.
Yeah.
You hear all them talking, and you already see the click. How click's already started. You know what I mean? Compared to where we're going, you got the whole team going with us in travel ball, little league, whatever the case may be. We're all grinding. We're all going to the same thing. We're all going to pizza. These guys are going to hang out somewhere else and go to a kickback or do whatever they got to do with other. And you're a freshman just sitting there. So I just went out and just did my thing. And I just heard the whispers. I just looked around. I was new. My mouth was shut, but I just went out and just did my thing and just tried to, I wouldn't say overdo it or try and show off. I just wanted to let them know that a freshman's here to, do some damage a little bit. And because I've been going against older kids my entire life. So going against a junior was nothing as a freshman.
Yeah.
So it was that thing where I was like, let's go. And that's kind of where I stepped on the field, and I was like, all right, you can hang with these guys. I was watching. I was like, man, this guy can't even make the ball 120 feet in the air. I'm like, there's no chance this guy's going to play with me. You know what I mean? I took that into heart. I was like, I'm only a freshman, but and that's where I started that instinction that, all right, I can be better, if not just as good as these guys, if I put my mind to it, which I did on that tryout day.
No doubt. And we know, you threw the ball hard, you still throw the ball hard. But when I met you, looking at that little body, man, when you came over to the Pirates and mid to upper 90s coming out of that, was that something you always possessed, or did you gradually get stronger and start to throw the ball harder?
I'd say I threw about even, if not a little bit harder at the age groups that I was at growing up. I mean, I only topped out at 91 in high school, which is hard. No,
of course.
Don't get me wrong. 91's hard. Breaking 90 is tough. That's what I tell kids now. Breaking 90, you think you want to hit 100? Let's try to hit 90 consistently first. Like that's hard. The 89's hard.
Yeah.
But no, as I got more loose with my body, more in tune with my body, learned how I was developing after starts, workouts, how I felt after that. I started seeing some upticks in being able to use that strength in the workouts into my mechanics, which, I mean, they're pretty violent, as we know, but they're very effortless, my mechanics. Yeah. And it started then, where how can I throw it to the catcher without having to go get the ball that my dad was making me get up right next to him, because we only had one ball when we played catch when it was pitching. And he wouldn't move his glove. So if it was right, if I hit the glove, I hit the glove. If I didn't, he'd move his body instead of moving the glove to catch the ball. And I would have to get the ball, and it's right next to him. And I'm like, it's right next to you. Get the ball and throw it back. Like, why are you making it? He goes, no, hit your target. Like, no, I'm not doing it. Think about what you're doing on the way here to get on the way back to know what you're doing to hit your target. He'd get pissed. He'd pick it up sometimes and he'd fire it back to me and be like, why am I throwing it harder you on my knees than you are standing up? I'm like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense a little bit. I started guiding, you know what I mean? We started guiding the ball. We started losing V-load, So I started using that to my advantage and just learning that from a young age. And then I started seeing upticks once I became a reliever, because I knew, all right, once I became a reliever in the low minor leagues in A-ball, I was like, all right, well, I just got to go for one inning, maybe two. Let's let it eat and see what happens.
Yeah.
So 91 to 92, my first few years as a starter. And then I go to the pen. I went from 92, 93, touching 95, 96 every game. I was like, all right, let's see what we got after this. If we can do some more of throwing. I didn't work out. I did the basics once I got into pro ball, because once I got a reliever, I should say.
Yeah.
Know what to do. I didn't know how to be a reliever. I was a starter, used to that routine. So I just needed to make sure, all right, my mentality as a reliever, I just need to be able to pitch every day and get outs. So I did the minimum that was on the board, the 2 times a week in the minor leagues that you got to go on the bus. You look at the paper on the outfield fence that the strength coach taped up there.
Yeah.
He's stretching the position players at this point during BP. So he's not watching you. You just say you did it. So I just said I did it. Because my arm felt good and I was throwing long toss. That's all I thought I had to do, because I was a reliever.
Yeah.
Typical, stereotype is relievers don't run.
We don't.
Still don't.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. You said that. I didn't mean to cut you off. You say that. I mean, I want to just kind of piggyback off what you said about your dad. Just that tough love, and he forced you, and I've seen you throw off. We were teammates, that tunnel vision, man. That's what he forced you to have when that glove just sat right there. And when there's no other way but for you to hit that glove, that's the only time you were successful, if you hit that glove. And just watching you pitch and seeing you last for this long, I think that helped, even though you didn't like it at the time. I think that helped you, man, because coming in as a reliever, you got to be able to throw strikes. As a starter, you get to settle in, but as a relief pitcher, you got to come in here and be able to throw strikes. So Dad prepped you for this 14-plus year career that's still going right now. Hindsight 2020, you weren't thinking about that back in the day, but now you can probably, think those times and be happy about those times you had in the yard playing catch. But you talked about in high school, the competition, guys looking cliquish, new guy, scrawny kid. Who is that dude? What's he doing here? You used that as motivation. You went out there and you competed, and you showed that you belonged. When did you start seeing that attention? Did it first come from pro scouts? Did it come from colleges? When did you start seeing that you can play this game beyond the high school level?
I'd say it was when I really knew there was a chance to go on after high school, and not just college, but pro ball. It was a game in high school where me and Ricky Nolasco, longtime veteran.
Way bigger than you.
Way bigger than me. Way bigger. And he hit in high school. Man, could he hit tanks. Let me tell you that. I just walk out. We're at our place. And we walk outside, and I walk out of the dugout from the bullpen, warming up, pregame, whatever, go to the dugout. We're ready to take the field. And I'm in my zone, I'm locked in or whatever, and I look up as I get to the mound. And I mean, just from on deck circle to on deck circle was just guns. I'm like, all right, they ain't here to see me. I know that. I already know we're facing Ricky. He's already projected top 5. Like, you look at the numbers in high school, mine were pretty good. I'd say probably half is better than his. I mean, if you has his numbers in half, that's what mine. So, but my size. Who wants to take a 6'1", 120-pound kid in a top 5 round who durability obviously is a question. I get it, don't know about it, but this didn't know a thing. Obviously, I just followed Pedro Martinez at the time.
Yes.
That's the first time I realized, okay, there could be a chance after this with all these people around, because they're not here, they're here to see him. Like, all right, we both went 10 shutty that day. And then I get to college, and still it didn't. What's it gonna be? Because what I did in high school when drafted didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Based on what I was told once after that game, I was learning about the draft process and things like that. And I had more talks about it to get aware, but I still didn't know about it, didn't know what it meant. Because I never went to the area code games. I never went to these showcases. I was never invited. But according to people, I was labeled the best one in our area and in the region. Southern California, well, you know, going into that, I just didn't have the backing.
Yeah.
And the coach that did all the AAU bullshit and all that other stuff. Sorry for my language.
You could do it on this one, bro. We ain't tripping on the cuss words.
So I didn't have that for me. And there was one time that showcase in Oklahoma for high school guys, they asked me to go, and I was like, as a reserve, because one guy couldn't make it. I was like, I had literally told him, I said, you want me to go as a reserve? Look at what I did. I said, no. And you're a coach in our conference, and I shoved it up your ass. Yeah. So no, I'm going. You know, we didn't have cell phones. This is on a house phone at the time, so I didn't care. What do you R690 or whatever it is? So, you know, so I was like, no. So I just went to RCC, and fortunate enough to have a coach there that I would say probably was the best benefit for me by any means, if I would have out of any step after high school. Dennis Rogers, he was former minor league manager for the Pirates, or not for the Pirates, for the A's when they were in Medford numerous years. And then he'd go back and coach for them in Vancouver during the summer, you know, and I actually played against him my first year in pro ball. So that was kind of cool. Going from college that year or playing him that summer was pretty cool. And I give him a lot of credit for as far as prepping me of what it's like to be on the daily grind of at the time was the minor leagues, because he ran it like we were. Yeah. I mean, for college, to get the knowledge that we were given and the way we were supposed to go about the game, I don't think, you know, without that, I mean, it's a tribute to why I'm still going, just because of how I approach it.
For sure. That's crazy, man. I mean, just speaking on that, obviously we know the draft, it's changed a lot, but back in 2002, early 2000s, 2002, around those times, the draft was still a long process. They still had draft and follows. And you're telling me you're putting up numbers, you're doing the things that you're doing in Southern California against some of the best competition in the state, and we don't get a sniff at the draft. Were you recruited by any big schools, or it was just something like, I'm just out here pitching, doing my thing, and just waiting for a call. How, like, did you have options besides RCC? And that's Riverside Community College, right?
Yeah.
Any other options besides them, or was it just that?
I did, but I didn't take my SATs like, to heart to get in school. So that's how I knew. I didn't know.
Yeah, of course.
I be blunt and honest. Like, did I get good? I was a 3.0 student. Did I like school? Absolutely not. Because I thought that having real conversation about a topic was beneficial than somebody teaching me out of a book that everybody is getting taught. And they expect everybody to get the same thing out of it. We don't do that. Our brains don't operate like that. And I learned, and I was doing this as a young age. I don't believe in these books because I need conversation on these books, and we're not going to have a good conversation without all these people around in this room that are just going to talk to say they have an opinion when it really means nothing about the words they're reading. And it started with my dad again, with reading and comprehension. Like, I have to get done reading a book or whatever, and I come back to him after I was done. He said, "How was it?" And my first word, if it was go back and read it again, that ain't a word to start out, So learning how to comprehend things was really taught to me at a young age. So that whole draft thing was, it hurt because of what I did. And then the SAT thing, that school thing, I was getting looked at by Long Beach State, but I didn't really think it was a big deal because I didn't want to go into the same state. I thought that was not going to college or doing something if you were good at a sport, unless you went to SE or UCLA or something like that. Cal, Stanford, going to a state school I didn't think was the right thing at the time. You either go to JUCO or you go to one of those schools. Why go in between? Just so you can have a better on your resume? Same thing, same books, more money. Didn't make sense. So I didn't really take my SATs too seriously in that regard. And I think that kind of spread the word about me not being too serious about what I was doing. Don't know. Get to JUCO. I had a lot of schools calling. A lot of East Coast, a lot of the big ones in the Big 10 or whatever it is now. The Big 12, is that what it is now? I don't know. They add schools every damn year to these conferences.
It's confusing with these conferences, man.
And I don't
Big 10, Big 12, all of the SEC.
Yeah. And Dennis, with his connections, he just goes, I think he's got something better planned. And I didn't know what my plan was, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I signed on a Saturday. I stopped going to school on a Monday as a draft and follow, just because I wasn't going to get anything out of it. It's a wrong thing to say, wrong thing to put out there, but that was my mentality at the time of where I was at in my life. Me and my wife now, we were together at the time, and weren't sure if we were pregnant or not with Christy, our oldest now. And so we just had to see what would happen. And we rolled the dice and took what we got during that draft and follow process, which school hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Not having that in my back pocket. But I wasn't ready for school to go away and do all that stuff because my mind was already further than that. My mind was ready to go move and live and see what you can do as a life with this based on what I learned from the time I left high school and didn't know anything about the draft to the time I met Dennis and what he did for me there. So I knew, and he instilled it in me. It's time to go, dude. You got too much to go to another. What are you going to go do at another school? And do what? Fail? Because you're going to try and better yourself? And then you're going to just chase something that ain't there to chase? Go play some other more competitive kids and see what you got. Go get knocked down. So, and then it worked out. And I won't say school is not the right decision. It is. But if your heart ain't in it,
why do it? Yeah.
All I can say, go the JUCO route. All you got to do is get a 2.0 and you play the way you want to play and not be committed for 4 years. But if school is the one thing on your mind and it's something that your parents have talked about and you guys have talked about, my parents never talked about going to college. You know what I mean? My dad was a warehouseman for 30 plus years. Mom, she worked in a bakery. Still does. So that wasn't talked about. And that's what I mean by times nowadays.
Of course.
Times are different. You know, it was just go out there and go make money. We're only going to support you till you're 18. For me, it was sports or the Army. And, you know, I bless their hearts. I honestly say I don't have the nuts to go to the Army compared to what these guys do. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Plain and simple, I support them with tenfold more than I felt I wouldn't have done it justice if I would have went. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's where I can kind of say I chose my decision the right way because I didn't care about school. Was I a bad student? Absolutely not. Am I dumb? No. Am I smart? Yes. But I learned more life lessons and more about the real world, traveling these cities, being on these buses. As you know, the conversations we have with people from different cities, different areas, different upbringings, different things like that. And me being from Southern California, we see it all too. So it's a different world over here as it is compared to somebody from, Clinton, Iowa. And no offense, it's just where we're born at the time we're born in our lives and what we're exposed to.
Exactly. I mean, that's a lot, bro. Chavi, bro. Like this is one of the reasons why I do this podcast, the story, the journey. You never know what people go through. You never know that mindset. We might just meet you and learn the surface, your surface, that top layer of you. But for you to be able to share some of the things that you had and how you were locked in mentally as a youngster, when you're talking about high school, pops, putting those books in your hands, holding you accountable, having that standard for you when it comes to comprehending and being able to give him the information that you read and go into detail, and for you to know and understand that those books that we study in school, everybody's pretty much like a robot. Nobody wants to think outside the line and challenge whatever opinion that they may see or read, or even challenge a teacher. For that reason, school wasn't for you. You used school to get to where you wanted to be, but you realize that if I have to go through school and do this just like that in order to be successful, then it's a good chance I'm not going to be successful. I'm going to have to figure it out some kind of other way. So obviously your college coach, when you got to JUCO, not knowing about the SAT, a lot of kids still don't know about doing that stuff. And they have a lot more information now because of social media, because of the internet, because of all of those things. But to say that, man, you're one of many. And was it a blessing in disguise? Probably, because you know what your mindset was when it came to committing to a 3 or 4 year commitment at a D1 university. So you take all of that information, man. 42nd round draft pick. That round is obsolete now. There's no 42nd round in a draft anymore. So what made you, because you put up numbers, you did your thing in JUCO, 11 wins, 12 wins, 2 years in a row, under 2 ERA, all of these things. What did they offer you some bread, or what was that like? What made you go ahead and sign? Was it the fact that you and moms were expecting? What made that decision for you?
I ended up getting top 5 money.
Makes sense.
And we were expecting. So we weren't expecting, but we were. She was having symptoms at the time, but we didn't know later on. And I just felt it was time. Me and her, from the moment we started dating, we started staying. We knew it was it. We knew we weren't going nowhere else. So we started staying at each other's house more. Obviously now it's frowned upon. Ain't gonna happen, especially having an 18-year-old.
Hey, you ain't gonna let none of that shit happen.
Oh man. But we were just ready to grow. And I mean, she already been working, her job, being in sales and stuff like that. And then she was doing a pharmacy tech license, getting that taken care of. And we were both working at Domino's when I was in junior college. I was delivering and she was making them. So I just got the job to get some Jordans. Get some Jordans.
To get some J's.
4 Jordans. So that, and like I said, we were just ready to move on and see what life had in store as far as this game's going to bring us. And I did this. We had our daughter in 2004, my first spring training. That summer, she lands her job as a longshoreman out here in Long Beach, and she's been doing it just as long as I've been playing baseball. So would that have lined up the way it would have lined up if I would have held out and went and tried the draft again based on the round? I wasn't worried about a round anymore. That time came and passed my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college, rounds. Because I know it's just whoever talks the most in that person's ear who drafts you is the one that's going to draft you. That's going to get drafted. I didn't have anybody speaking up in up that chain, up that ladder, because the guy that drafted me became an agent. So I had that going for me. So nobody was out there coming to watch me my sophomore year, so they say, but they said they were. So it was one where we were just like, all right, let's bounce and see what this has to offer for us. And we were mentally stable enough to go out and me be gone and her stay home and do her thing.
Yeah. So it's obvious. I mean, the way pops and moms raised you and how you were locked in mentally, you were mature. To meet somebody at that age and know that it's going to be some forever shit. That don't happen all the time. No. The fact that you're a 42nd round draft pick and you got 5th round money, hey, that's hard to pass up. So you were decent money, but obviously not no retirement type check. But you knew you was gonna get some opportunity with the Rangers, right? The Rangers drafted you in that spot. So speak on that. Speak on that first experience in pro ball. 2004, you going to spring training. Was it everything that your JUCO coach told you that it would be like, or did you experience some totally different things?
It was everything I expected. He said you're going to be doing a lot of running around, just early mornings, long days. But it wasn't really nothing too different that I thought going in was it was going to be culture shock as far as that goes. But it was like that. It reminded me of that day in tryouts in high school. You got the guys up in AAA looking at the guys that are coming in. All right, you guys walk around like you're tough shit or whatever, like just because you've been here for a few years. Well, at some point we're going to be in the same fucking shoes.
Yeah.
So that's where I was at, and I just constantly shook my head a lot because you just see the navigation of just certain guys and everybody just being left out. And you knew who the young ones were, and you knew who the guys that didn't have anybody, that based on the round you were drafted, that's what group you went to.
The clicks.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But just listening, always laid back, but that mindset, you was never intimidated, which is huge playing pro ball. And it's even bigger when you're drafted late, even though you got the money. The fact that you were drafted late and you know that you were going to be casted away by the players, not so much coaches, but players just kind of being in those cliques. But for you to not be intimidated, obviously that's another reason why you're still doing what you're doing today, 14, 50 years into the big leagues. Credit to Pops, credit to Moms, credit to your JUCO coaching. Sure, credit to Wifey too for kind of standing behind you and keeping you going. So no intimidation, man. You hit the ground running. You go out there and show what you can do. Was those bus trips, man? I know it. I don't know where you started at, but first year in the mountain, you're on your own now. Nobody's around. Were those bus trips hell? Was that something that was just not even a thought to you? Navigating through your first few years of pro ball, how was it, man? Just speak on briefly how that was. You leave spring training, now you with a team. How was that first experience of being with a team and actually getting paid to go out there and pitch?
You know what? We had a really good teams my first 2 years, short season and the short low A.
Yeah.
The bus rides were great. Because we didn't have an iPhone, we didn't have an iPad, we didn't have internet or Wi-Fi. We just had each other, or we had a cell phone that you can only send a single line text across, or you played Snake on it.
Or some CDs or movies to watch.
Yeah. That was about it. And if we didn't have batteries, we were screwed because we couldn't charge it or plug them in. So we had to have AA batteries with us. Or we had the little MP3 players that we plugged into our computer that we had to upload. So I think the bus rides then are going to be are obviously way more memorable now than the ones that these kids are having now. I think, because they're not interacting. They got the big headphones in. They've got, our headphones were in, but once the batteries came out, we all had the same batteries because we borrowed ones from another, and we were mixing and matching, taking batteries from each other. So we all knew when our batteries died, it was over with because we started at the same time.
That's it.
So then it turned to real conversation, but now we don't know what it's about as far as these bus rides go, because they're never ending batteries.
Yeah.
So those, just stopping at the store, in the middle of nowhere, and hey, truck stop, freezing cold, seeing our breath in front of us, we're all got crap in our eyes and we're trying to get some snacks for the next 8 hours going to Midland, Texas. You're just like, all right, here we go. How do we get through this? And then all of a sudden you're there and got to play, get an hour, checking into the hotel, and got to go back to the field. So that's the best part about getting to the big leagues, is that journey.
Yeah. Yeah, the minor league journey, man. And like, you played the Texas League, so I know, I never played there, but I know how the travel is just in the state of Texas itself. Long bus trips, man. But to talk about that and the appreciation that you had to have during those times, because we didn't have the technology, nothing was as advanced as it is now, nowhere close to it. To get to know your teammates, to share some thoughts, share some memories, share some opinions, maybe get into it every now and again, whatever it is, you got to appreciate it, you got to experience it. So you're with the Rangers, man, and you're making that climb. You're kind of from 2004 to 2005, 06. You're basically as a youngster, you're probably 22, 23 at the time. You're making that climb. You're on the fast track, and then boom, you get traded. You get traded around the deadline in 2006. Was that a bummer for you? Was that something that was like, okay, maybe now I might get that call up? How did you feel about getting traded? Because it was a big league trade you were involved in.
Yeah. It was kind of a cool thing and a bad thing at the time when I was going through it in my head, because I just got put up to AAA. But the year before, that work ethic thing that we were talking about, the simple things on the board that I was doing, that held me back from going to the big leagues in 2005, straight from Hyde to Texas that year. Big old conversation about that one. I got my ass chewed out.
By who?
Oh, can't tell it. Nah, Dave Chavarria.
Okay, I thought wifey had got him.
No, Dave Chavarria. But he didn't single me out in the meeting. It was with all the pitchers, and it was after the meeting where I had to stay after and talk to him one-on-one, where I realized my work ethic wasn't a work ethic. It was just a get by ethic.
Yeah.
And so he did that to me, and the trade was kind of okay, let's go do what you've learned now in that year and a half since then and make it work in a new organization, because the year and a half you've had here isn't working right now. Since then, you're not getting anything better. You're not getting any better. You're losing stuff, but you're gaining stuff at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
I was losing strikes that my dad taught me, and I was gaining miserable strikes and getting whacked with positive stuff. 90-mile-an-hour slider, almost reaching 100 in fastball. That doesn't make sense. If I'm able to do what I'm doing, what my dad taught me, and put it where I need to. So I thought that trade was kind of a good thing for me. But at the same time, I'm coming up with these guys that I finally get to and catch up to these guys in AAA who finally have big league time, and we should have been it together, and we're not. And then, all right, let's go somewhere else. So that's where I was like, all right. When I got to India, I was like, all right, let's embrace this with open arms. And it was a tough bullpen to embrace with that bullpen experience down there with those boys. Man, you talk about salt.
Yeah, bro.
There was some salt down there on that bench, that's for sure.
Believe me, I know.
It was good salt we needed at the time, especially being young. And these guys having multiple years of big league service time. And just sitting there with the 1-2 ERA and an organization that you would think would give them a chance.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was big time insurance policies with the Pirates, and obviously that's when we first met. I just got up to AAA that year. Went the opposite. I was a reliever to start out, and then at that point in time that year, I was starting games. Never thought I'd be doing that, but hey, it is what it is. But you come over there, like you said, a lot of experience, a lot of salt in that bullpen, really on that team when you look at it. A couple of youngsters sprinkled in there, but there's some guys that have been in the big leagues, that done some special things. Probably should have still been in the big leagues at the time. Being around those guys, and I know we hung out a lot. We had some fun times in Indy. We're not going to dive into none of that stuff, but did that help you in any way? Because you already had a strong mentality. You already went out there when the manager gave you the ball, you went and did your job. The only thing you was missing was that really strong work ethic. So being around those experienced guys coming over to Indianapolis, AAA for the Pirates, did you take anything from that experience in that short amount of time, that month to 5 weeks, from the veteran guys we had?
Oh, yeah. I know it was the end of the season with a month left, and they knew September was going to be a hard push for them to go up because of the trades that they just got with the younger guys. And then you coming up as well, and then you making quality starts, and you putting yourself on a map, not only as a reliever before that, but now as a starter, you're like, okay, we got options here now.
Yeah.
Just because that's what the organization was doing. You guys were breeding starters that were good enough, and especially lefties. Jesus.
Yeah, we had a shitload of lefties.
Man. But watching those guys at the end still went out there and did their job. Their numbers didn't waver no matter if they were getting called up or not. And you had TA, who was a month shy from 10 years.
Yes.
And to see him still do his thing every single day and have his family at home or whatever the case may be and marinate there at that age, that was a lot for me. And it didn't pay off until this year, when I had to take the deal with Atlanta, because those guys, that bullpen group right there would have whooped my ass if I would have said, no, I'm not going to AAA. I literally had this conversation with myself numerous times, Shane, and you know them, and you know those guys down there, how hard we would have said that to us. Well, you think you're better than baseball? You got to have a big league job. If you want a big league job, go back, earn it. That's the conversation I had with those guys in my head for a few times. And then, wife told me to go, but that, without learning from those guys then, what I learned in that little bit of time, who knows if I would have exercised the option of that mentally.
Definitely. I mean, and you earn the right not to based on the track record. But the fact that, you had a little humble pie and you took it back to, almost 15 years ago. Well, 15 plus years ago when you sat in that bullpen in Indianapolis and was around those guys. And, if you took one thing from them, you took that. And you're World Series champion because of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And if you would have been that that bitter veteran and was like, nah, then who knows? We might be talking about something totally different right now when it comes to the success that you've had as a ball player. You take that, obviously you with us and you're pitching well. And you're part of that conversation too with a trade as far as a September call-up type. It doesn't happen. But prior to that, man, we celebrated your birthday in 2006. And, I still remember that time you blessed my car, bro. So I don't know if you remember that.
Why you got to bring that up?
I don't know if you remember that. We was roommates for a hot second, and I remember that night. Good night, man. Celebrate your birthday. Had a good time, man. I think about it from time to time. Like, man, this man blessed my car, man. But
I know.
It is what it is. It's memories, brother. It's memories, man. You can't be mad at that, bro. So, you with the Pirates that following year, big league camp. Another one, with the Pirates, they keep those veteran guys around, those insurance policies. Both of us, pitch well in spring training, but I don't make the team. You don't make the team. We have to go back to AAA. Was that a bummer because you had to wait almost a whole nother year before you got that call up? 2007, did you think it was your time or did you understand that, nah, I'm not quite there yet?
I knew I wasn't there yet. I didn't think a month was enough for me to say I was good enough to go to the big leagues, AAA. Because I still had those 8 good ones and 3 really shitty ones.
Yeah.
You can't have that when you want to go to the big leagues. You got to have 11 good ones and 1 bad one. And that's a month of work by having 11 outings. If you throw 11 times in a month, 11 to 12 times in a month, I mean, you're one of the guys.
Oh yeah.
So if I started thinking about that, all right, it's like when we throw pitches, all right, I'm not going to go to the next one unless I throw 10 good ones that are my liking, not just middle. So I was kind of like that, all right, I got to have at least 10 to 12 good ones before I think I'm even capable enough to moving on. But that wasn't the case for me. And up until for a long time, it's 11, it's 8 good ones. Here comes 3 shitty ones. 9 good ones. When's Chavi going to blow up? Bam, here it is.
There it is.
And that was always in my head of when's it going to, and then it just got to the point where Chris Hernandez, remember him?
Oh yeah.
And I throw to him all the time. Well, this year we haven't, but up until this year, I'd go to him every offseason. Up until this offseason, I would go to him every offseason. So it just got to the point where now it's give what your arm has that day. Don't force more. Where I was trying to force more, I was trying to force numbers and to go somewhere else. Whereas get back to what happened before. If they're going to get you, they're going to get you. If they're going to draft you, they're going to call you, they're going to call you. Is what it is. So once I started doing that, I think the last few years, I would say it's been better for me as far as mentally and being able to go out there and just do my job day in and day out. I don't look at 2020 as a lot of guys don't, as a season. I was basically rehabbing in the big leagues, which, it's hard to do. So I'll take 3 out of 4 as quality ones for me. And that's what I'm fine with because of that mentality I had by being okay with not going to the big leagues in 2007 and waiting another year of getting exposure, because even then numbers weren't there. If you look at the numbers, because it was the same thing. Here's 8, here's 3, here's 6, here's 5, here's 12. Oh, here's 4 shitty ones again. It was one of those roller coaster things that I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to be a pitcher. I didn't know what they wanted of me. Do you want me to be hard in sliders? Do you want me to be hard in changeups? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to mix both? Like, how am I going to be you? What do you want me to do? Or just come in and get outs? Then we can work from there. But if you want me to be all these things into one, that ain't going to work when I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be.
I feel you. Now tell me this though, in 2008, you get that call now. You're in AAA. You get that call. Now, did that solve it all? Had you figured it out then? Tell me how it felt, because you say you were still kind of finding yourself with knowing who you were as a pitcher and what the organization wanted you to do. How did it feel? Did that change everything? It was like, man, to hell with this. I'm gonna go just continue to do my thing the way it's going. I got this call to the big leagues. Finally, I'm gonna go make something happen. Talk about that. Talk about that call or that meeting in the office that you had when you found out you was going to the league.
Trent called me, said, you're going up. We were in Durham. Just gave up a walk-off too to Johnny Gomes. And he goes, you're going up. Normally you don't think you're going to go up after getting a walk. But he said you're going up. And at that point, I was just in awe. We're all like, no, really lying, like bullshit.
Especially from Trent.
Exactly. And so I'm like, all right, didn't sleep. Call my wife. She doesn't believe me. She can't make it out that day. She ends up coming to the next series the next night. But it was one where I didn't really, I felt like I was there yet. Still like there was a lot more to do still and accomplish and get done. But I didn't know how to do it. We can polish our mechanics all we want and talk about all this stuff. But to get to the point of execution, I can mentally outbeat you. I can mentally beat you. That's fine. And by that, I'll outstuff you. But that means you have to swing at what I'm throwing.
Yes.
How do I combat that to where it looks good enough for you to swing with you having the same mentality I'm having against you? That's what took me. That's what I didn't understand. And that's what we get that leak back. Where, all right, I can get 2. Let me try 3, where I was able to do it just a week ago. Now, all of a sudden, that 2 in a row, that third one, wham. Or that 1-0, then it's that 1-0, get me over slider, wham. That's taken for a double. That was a strike. Now I'm 1-1. Now I blow your doors. Here's 1-2. Now I can either blow your doors or here's a slider or change up, whichever I want to do. Now up there, here we can't do that.
Yeah.
Because they're going with us just as much as we're going with them, and then everything's in the book. So I didn't think I was from that standpoint. And I'm thinking this. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this if I don't know what to do? Because we can talk about how hitters set up all day long and what to look for as far as triggers go. And we can talk about mechanics all day long, but how can I use all this stuff to make my stuff that much more better than their ace on their team or their best reliever on their team, or even the best ones on our team? Or how do we, you know what I mean? How can I compliment the next guy or vice versa?
Got you. When did you figure that out? Because I mean, obviously 25, 26 years old, you're in the big leagues. And pretty much a mainstay from that point on at the big league level. So, man, when did you figure it out? The things you're talking about when you discuss knowing how to, I guess, think along with the hitters to make your stuff better because they're thinking along with you and making adjustments and during that bat or during the game or what have you.
I'd say once when I got designated by Toronto in the offseason of 11, and I went to Mexico for winter ball. And that season in 11, I was playing for Kansas City and I was all sidearm. And then I went back over the top. I didn't know who I was lost. So I deep dove that off season before I went to winter ball. And I was like, all right, who are we going to be? How are we going to get back to doing this with what you did before? Which it's still there, the velocity and all that stuff. And then incorporating now what Joe Kerrigan taught us with how to read feet, how to read hands and stuff in the box, read triggers, incorporate what Ray taught us with mechanics, and still have the mentality that I have and put it all together to become the pitcher that I want to be moving forward.
That's what's up. I mean, taking those gems, you just mentioned 2 names, Joe Kerrigan, Ray Series. Those guys are, I never got to know Kerrigan, but I've pitched for Ray and I know how good he is and the things that he do for pitchers, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Great dude, great pitching coach. So you take that, and then do you immediately see that success, or did it still take you taking those bumps along the way before you start to really see it smooth out? When did you start to really reap the benefits of those things that you were taught by those two guys, amongst other pitching coaches?
So I did that winter ball in off season of 11, and I go to spring train. I have a solid winter ball. I get my velo back up. I commit to my cutter, change up, curveball, no slider. And I was like, all right. I start getting I got my command back of being able to throw both sides of the plate, in, out, up, down, all 4 pitches again. It's like, all right. I got back to just what I did in high school. First base side of the rubber. Back to my mechanics I did when I was in high school. Simple. Easy. And then the only thing I did do was stop going over my head, and I just left my hands in my belt. And I get to spring in 12 with the Blue Jays, and I get sent down like 10 days before camp. And I asked Farrell, I'm like, hey, can I start in AAA? Last time he started, I was like, 04.
A long time.
He laughs at me. He goes, how's your arm? How your body feels? Good? Yep. Never have arm problems? Nope. All right. We got to get you to 5 innings by the time you break camp in 10 days.
Shit.
All right. So I got down the next day. I went 2. I had 2 days off, went 3 days off, 4, which lined me up perfect for my first start to go 5 in the next game and whatever. So it worked out perfect. I'm working with Travis d'Arnaud now at the time in AAA. And that's where I started. Me and him got on a clicking mechanism, and I utilized what I learned, like we're talking about, from the physical stuff to the mental stuff, and I just put it all together. And we just went on a tear, and I ended up going up, had good games. Thought I'm going to stay as a long man. No, go up, down, doesn't work. But I'm starting this whole time. Then I get traded in July or August to Oakland. But having Travis down there at a young age and being able to work with him, and me being completely new to this whole me now. I'm completely new to this whole me again. You know, it felt like I was newly drafted, so to speak. Where am I at? Let's go and let's just play ball and see what it brings us. And I already have a couple years of big league time at the time.
Yeah.
But it was one of the best reinventions that I've had of my career, from that mental standpoint of, man, see what can happen when you just simplify things, stick to your strengths, and throw the cutter, because I should have thrown the cutter years. I threw the cutter the years before that, but I never committed to it.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. So we were able to put it all together, and that was one that helped. And then obviously over the years, you just keep adding to it and keep making each part of your game better. I try to master each part. So if I try to master the down and away, I try to master the up and away. I try to master the up and in, and I try to master the down and in. Then it's trying to master it with a sinker. Then it's trying to master it with the cutter. And I try to do that year in and year out of my routine, because that off season and that season taught me that.
Gotcha. But you were becoming salty.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you really think about it, you know what I'm saying? But to have a catcher at the time, you know, take the time to get to know you, help you with your strengths, things you need to work on. Then again, like you said, I got back to the basics, to the things I was doing when the game was fun. Not that it wasn't fun at the time, but I was just out there having the ball, just going out there and compete. You got back to that. Now you became a starter again with Toronto at the AAA level before getting called up. But I also know at that point in time, I was in Korea playing. And it was rumblings of you. A lot of Japanese teams were hot on your trail.
Mhm.
What kept you from doing that? Did the Blue Jays keep you from going? Or was it a decision that you made, like, I don't want to do that. I'm going to stick it out here and see what happens?
So, and yeah, because there's a guy that at the time was at RCC who had connections to a team in Korea. And I believe it was a team you were on.
Maybe. Lotte. I was at Lotte, the Giants.
Yeah, I believe it was that team. And then I had a team in Japan. Those two teams were the teams that I would probably say I would have went to if I would have chose. But Japan said, we're going to send you to the minor leagues and see what you do, and then we'll call you up. Same thing I'm doing here. You're just going to pay me better.
Yeah.
No sense. And then I'm like, okay, well, I got 2 years and so many days. If I can get up to the big leagues, I can get arbitration. Then I'm going to make close to what they're going to pay me in Japan or Korea, wherever. So my thing was, I'm not done at the big league level yet to go over there yet. I don't feel like I've worn my chances out here yet to go over there, because now I'm a starter. Now I have a different repertoire. My velo's back up. And when I was emptying the tank, I was 97, 98 with Travis in 7th, 8th inning. So I had that going for me. Why would I want to take that over there when I haven't even seen what it did in the big leagues?
Sure.
All the big leagues tell me it's time to go over there and do what I can do, and hopefully see what I can do over there and work my way back over here. But I didn't feel I was ready for that.
Gotcha. Yes, and it's definitely a culture shock, especially if you haven't experienced it. Even though we're around a lot of different cultures here, playing the game, just going out there and that's all you see is Koreans, is Japanese. You might see a couple of Americans sprinkled in here and there, but it's a change of pace. And I had somebody kind of take me under their wing because he had been there a couple of years before me, Ryan Sadowski, that I played with for that 1 year, my first year there. He knew the lay of the land, so he helped me out. If it wasn't for him, man, I wouldn't have lasted 4 seasons out there. So I have to give him a lot of credit. And it's real difficult for that, for you adjusting. But anyways, you don't take advantage of that opportunity because you still felt you had something to give to the game here in the States at the big league level. And obviously it paid off. You get traded over to Oakland. And you have been bouncing around prior to, right? Now it's 2012. You bounce around again, but you land with Oakland and you stick with Oakland for the next 3 to 4 years, man. How did that feel to kind of be settled in a sense and kind of have a feeling that you're not going anywhere? Like this team was invested in you, you invested in that team, and you stayed there from 2012 through the 15th season. How did that make you feel, man? Just being on a team and knowing you were going to be there.
It was good. Knowing that I was going to have a home for a few years, knowing that a few of the people in the organization, not just on the coaching staff or players like me, were thought highly of me. Fortunate enough for Dennis coming through that organization as a manager. Because I know damn well there's ties there, and if there ain't, and they're saying no.
Of course.
But I mean, that organization, I can't thank them enough for that longevity tryout that I was given for being able to do what I was able to do and do me. Because that organization is one that they want you to go out there and do you. That's the reason why they turn in players year in and year out that are really good. It's just the revenue's not there for them to go in, and it is, but it isn't. That's for a different topic. But why wouldn't you give these kids a chance when they're coming up and playing with guys that have bounced all around and seeing these stories and listening to them, and then they come out and do their thing? All those young kids now are so respectful to the guys that have come through there, walking on the other side, playing on the other side and talking to them. But with Oakland, Bowmill, 12 was a tryout for me. I got traded in August. It was just you're here, you did good, you pitched good in playoffs for us, come up with us. or you did good in AAA playoffs. Now come up and give us some innings because we're in a tight race. And I knew I wasn't going to pitch in September for Oakland because every win was a must. Every game was a must win. Not saying every game isn't, but at that time, if Oakland lost one game in the last 12 days, we lost.
Yeah.
And if the Rangers won. So I knew I wasn't going to pitch. But watching those guys do their business, especially the young ones. You had Ryan Cook, Sean Doolittle, Evan Scribner, all these young kids, right? That are taking on this brunt and this workload. Not one complaint, just riding the wave. I'm like, I like this. This is what I saw in 10, but from older veterans. And this is awesome. Good to see. I like this. This can be something. So I went to the next season. All right. Still preparing as a starter. Started in AAA. I get it. Everybody has their roles. I came into a hot fire.
Yeah.
I'm a cold coal, I'm just into the hot fire right now. I got to get loose. I got to get warm up to this dude. So I went to AAA, did my thing. And me and Scribner, we were on the shuttle. He'd go up for 10. He started with the team. They ran out. He threw 3 innings. I had to go up for 10. So me and him were on the thing. And Bowmel taught me how to be a long man. And that helped me how to be a starter. Because Oakland helped you develop into becoming a big leaguer, not just, yeah, they do have a lot of young kids that come up right through the minor leagues because they all ball. But they were able to help you grow into a big leaguer at the big league level without having any repercussions. Because look at the field.
Yeah.
There's so much room for success and failure at the same time, where that ball you get jammed on that you hit foul ball, now there's a chance for it to be out instead of being out of play as a pitcher. Now as a hitter, now that ball that was down the left field line that bounced into foul territory, you got another chance, or vice versa. You're out now. Now you got to learn how to hit and stay inside, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That helped me out a lot. So Oakland was really, really beneficial in me, molding me into what I'm able to do with what I just did the year before, and which was be me when I became a starter again with Toronto.
No doubt. And I mean, thinking about that stay for them 3+ years, even though, you had some time in AAA with Oakland, it prepped you, man. Obviously, you got your stuff back. You started pitching at a much higher level. I'm a swing man now. I can start. I can come out the pen. Whatever y'all need, I can do it for you. And obviously, it came into play this past postseason with the Braves. You had to start a game or two in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. High intense situations. So you leave Oakland, man, and then I don't know where you go, but you bounce around a little bit. You're from team to team, a couple of different teams here, up until you spent a couple seasons with the Rangers. Was that a thing? Because you had did it early on, and then you settled in Oakland for a while. Were you okay with that, moving around, as long as they were giving me a job? I know you made some good money with the Angels. You're getting the bag at that point now because you're putting that time and you're having some success. So did that, bouncing around year to year, did that play a part in, did that take a toll on you? Or it was like, man, I don't care. Somebody's giving me a uniform. I'm getting an opportunity to compete and I'm getting the bag. I'm not tripping. Speak on that for a second.
Yeah. I don't ever want to be told no. And not a team never told me no yet. Not every team not all 30 together and they said, we don't want you.
You had 11 right now, right? You had about 11 right now. So shit, let's keep the count going. Right.
So I had that in me. I'm like, I don't like being told no. It's just ingrained in me. So being able to bounce around during that time, it was like, all right, you don't like me? All right, I'll go on to the next one and make sure they like me. All right, you guys got through with me this half season. All right, where am I going to go next? I'm going to make them like, not just them, the fans, whatever I can do to make that community like me for who I am by being myself. That's all I'm going to do out there from that point on. I knew it's a business and you got to take here and put there. It is what it is. Learned that early on in my career. Just from watching, seeing that. So why wouldn't I use that to my advantage as well? You want to use a bit? All right, I'm going to capitalize on myself too. How can I do that? Doing me. Now there's some bumps and grinds in there, and we have all that stuff, but all we can do is bet on ourselves. And yes, is it nice to have a job and a place to go every spring training and know where you're going every spring training? Yes. But those are the few select ones that have it. Those are the ones that haven't reached arbitration because you're getting paid now. So you're probably not going to be there the next few years. So you might want to start looking for a new place, so to speak, of not being so ingrained in this place. Be ready to be adaptable and being ready to move so it's not a culture shock, because you're not under that minor league contract anymore and you're not under the option thing. And then once you're a free agent, like if you don't have that deal, you should always be ready for the next one.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the select few, and those are the ones that jerseys are hanging.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are hot off the press. So if you have that mentality, like you think your jersey's going to be hanging up every day in every shop you go to, then I'm sorry, but you had to be a guy somewhere before to get that. And the only way to be a guy is you had to be there for multiple years. Sure.
And that's the grind of it all, man. And we go back to the younger child, man, just getting that game at a young age from pops and all of those things. And it might not even have to deal with baseball, but it was just life lessons and things that you went through to make yourself stronger mentally, physically, however you want to put it. We can go through all the teams, the Cubs, the Angels, the Blue Jays a couple times, the Dodgers, Pirates, all of those squads, the Braves, most recently Rangers. And then bouncing around, some of that was trades because you had became a hot product at the time. Guys needed that arm that can go out there and give them multiple innings, make starts, so on and so forth. So it wasn't just you becoming a free agent or sticking around for 1 year. Teams actually wanted you. Teams that were in playoff races actually wanted you or needed you on their staff to help them make that push. So that's a credit to you and the hard work and the consistency that you were able to have as a pitcher over the years, because now you're that hot product. Like I said, at the trade deadline, somebody had to have you. Fast forwarding through, man, all of that grind and all that moving around, going through the injury in 20, and then catching on with the Braves this past year in 2021, starting at AAA, grind it out. Now you're up in the big leagues doing your thing. They're using you. Relief, short, long. You started some games. You get that ring, bro. You get that ring, and that was a grind of a season. You had to go through the home. You had to go through the hometown too to get to the World Series. I don't know how many people like you in LA right now, bro. Y'all went out there and shut the boys down. But talk about, man, that playoff experience and you seeing that there is a possibility. Or when did you see that man, it's a possibility that we're gonna get this thing?
I say when we lost Ronnie. We all knew what kind of blow that was in Miami. We all knew we had an all-star break to think about of how we were going to get through this, and how we were going to pick him up. I think that was the time where we felt, and I've only been there for 10 days, maybe, if that, maybe a little bit longer. But it was one where you're just like, all right, how am I going to get back up after this one? All right, do nothing more, nothing less. Show up tomorrow, do it the way we've been taught about every single day that this organization breeds. They've had to do it before when they lost Chipper a couple times. They had to do it when they lost some pitchers. So it was something we knew. We'd been down that road before, but we weren't going to hit that dead end. We were going to find that way through to the end. And then you see the acquisitions we got to help pick up. Granted, Doobie, unbelievable. Jock, unbelievable. Soler, unreal. Ronnie's tough shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And especially in right field, that's a tough position to play. So you see that come in. I like it. Then you see the other ones come into play. I like it. Now it's just, all right, let's go. How can we show up each and every day and pick each other up when that guy isn't having a good one? How's he going to do this when he's not having a good one? You know, Freddie started the DS, 0 for 7 or something like that, 0 for 8 with like 7 straight punchies.
Yeah.
Oh, what's wrong with Freddie? Let him come home real quick. Bang. You know, it's one of those where you just see those things of, but in the meantime, when he's punching out, we're 1-1 tied, or you know, we're up 2-0 in the series. Still, after losing, him going 0 for 7 or 0 for 9 with so many punches, that just goes to show right there of who we are as a team, and not just it's always about one person. It's always about each other, picking each other up. Because at the end of the day, we all came in saying the same thing. Good job. Let's grab dinner. On to the next one. How it should be. You know, don't get too high, don't get too low. Keep it going. Come back tomorrow. Fix the mistakes. Show up for early work. Get on the mounds. Do what you got to do. Play the game. That's how we were. That's how I saw it. I don't mean to put any words in anybody's mouth, but that's that moment that happened. We showed up the next day like we didn't miss a beat. We took the time it took for him to get off the field, to process what we had to do to make his spirits better for the injury he just sustained. How are we going to do that? Not let him see us down. Let us see we're right behind him and we're going to pick him up right where he left off. And that's a testament to all those guys in that clubhouse. And I just got there 10 days ago before I saw that.
Yeah.
You know, and to come in and contribute to that team the way I did. I mean, I didn't expect it, especially being here at home in April. You know, just picked up a ball on the basketball court. My wife told me, go give it another shot. You know, and that was it. And the next thing you know, we're this.
Yeah.
Talking about this.
Got that bling, bro. Got that bling. And when you talk about Ronnie, you talk about Ronald Acuna, for those who listening and may not know who Ronnie is. In baseball, we give a lot of nicknames. We shortcut some stuff. So, and there was a couple other names that you kind of gave a nickname to, a shortcut. But, you know, the one big blow, that first big injury. And you guys had a few injuries that year and, last year. And it was pretty much like you said, next man up. But the fact that you had a nucleus of guys that kept everybody together, kind of like that first couple of years in the minor leagues that you spoke on earlier, where, you know, we spent time with each other, we did things. It wasn't just, okay, let's play, and then we go our separate ways. There was some type of brotherhood that went on there, and obviously it paid off. You stepped in, open arms, they welcome you. You did some big things that in the playoffs in general that season to help get to that point, man. So it's a credit to you for that too, to grind it out and do what was asked of you. And to follow in the footsteps of those guys that were doing things before you joined the team, bro. But I'm gonna tell you first off, congratulations on getting that ring, man. It's been 14 plus years, finally paying off. You're not done. I know you're a free agent right now, but you're not done. I'm sure somebody's gonna sign you when baseball picks up again. We don't know when that's gonna be. But if one thing you learned over those years is to stay ready, because you never know what's gonna happen. I know you're a busy man, bro. I got some things going on in the family, man. I got about a few more questions, 5 questions real quick, man. Just the first thing that come to mind. And then I'm going to let you roll, Chavez, bro. It's been classic, man. You shared a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things about you that I didn't know, especially when it came to that mindset. So definitely appreciate you dropping those gems. And I'm sure whoever watches going to appreciate you for dropping the gems too, bro. But before I get to those 5 questions, we talked about a lot and you jumped around a lot with different teams. Did anybody ever take you out for suits, bro? Anybody bought you that first suit? And if so, who was that?
Cappy, Matt Caps.
For real?
Yeah. He got me that first one.
That's what's up.
Where did we go? And then he got me the first one, but my first suit, my wife bought me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were in San Diego. She bought me that one.
Yeah, but as far as like a big leaguer kind of taking you out and getting it, Matt Caps, good dude, great dude, man. Pitched for a long time too. through that cheese, y'all were kind of similar. Come out there and blow some doors and get
He
up
would
out
have
of
been
it.
amazing during the spin rate era.
Yes.
That fastball he threw at the top with the breaking ball short, I mean, that's everybody's MO right now. He'd be the richest man in baseball.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And another generation, another lifetime, he definitely be making that cheese and lighting up those eyes, man. That's crazy. Cappy, shout out to Matt Caps, bro.
Yep.
Man, I'm gonna hit you, bro, with a couple questions, man, and I'm gonna let you go. Been everywhere playing the game, man. Favorite city to play?
Atlanta?
Yeah, you gotta love the ATL.
Yeah.
Gotta love it. A lot out there, man. Especially shopping. I know you be on your game, your gear game, and your shoe game. So it's a lot of stuff out there. Video game or baseball card? When you saw yourself, video game. That's the one.
Oh no.
For you.
For me.
When you saw yourself on a video game, which one caught you like damn this?
I'm
him.
The video game.
Got you.
I didn't really play the show till like a couple years ago for the first time.
Yeah.
And actually during pandemic, I played it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But all right.
when you saw yourself, video game. When you saw yourself in a video game, that got you more than when you saw yourself on a baseball card, right?
Yeah.
Got you. All right. I got 3 more for you, man. Is there a team you hated facing or loved? Either or.
Man, no, there's no team I love because they're all any given day, but the Brewers.
Hated facing.
They handed it to me early on.
Yeah. Milwaukee was always tough, man, offensively. All right, man, 2 more for you. And I might know what the answer is to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Your most memorable moment of your playing career so far?
Most memorable moment playing in career?
So far, because it ain't over with yet.
Yeah, so far. I mean, yeah. Being able to have my family there for the World Series was probably the best thing.
Yeah, that's juice right there.
Yeah, just being able to have them see it, mom and dad, it's pretty cool.
I mean, they wasn't hating on you because y'all beat the Dodgers now. For sure. One more for you, man. And I might have a bonus, but that's one more for you. Favorite athlete of all time?
Favorite athlete of all time? Besides, I got to go with MJ, but Pedro.
Yeah, obviously that guy paved the way for you, for the little guys.
Yeah, Pedro Martinez by far.
That's what's up, man. Like I said, man, you've been dropping some gems. I appreciate you being able to finally hop on. But the fact that you mentioned Matt Capps buying you your first suit, who's the person that you bought a suit for the first time?
I don't remember.
But all right. Have you bought a few of them?
Yeah. I've gotten a few.
Okay.
I've gotten a few suits for a few guys.
That's what's up. Man.
Yeah, Cappy taught us right, so I try to do my best to make sure the younger ones are taken care of. But now they all have their own.
Yeah, they come in already, just like the rappers. They come in with it already.
Everybody has a wedding now, so they're all bringing their wedding suits that they wore to the wedding. Back then, nobody was getting married.
No.
Now they got their weddings every other week. They're like putting up pictures and shit. We didn't know about that stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. Them boys securing that life, man. But Chavez, bro, again, I definitely appreciate you finally hopping on the podcast, man. Much love, bro. Much love and continued success. This is the League Talk Podcast, and we out of here.